My model girlfriend was just using me for money, so I turned the tables, leveraged her connections for payback, made a fortune, and now she's desperate to get me back. Bella was using me for my money, so I turned the tables, used her connections to my advantage, and made a solid profit. Now she wants me back. I am 29, and I had been with Bella, my fiancée, for almost a year. She was an aspiring model, absolutely stunning, the kind of woman who turned heads everywhere. Honestly, even I was shocked that she had picked me. I am just an average guy, nothing special to look at, and my friends could not believe it either. Sure, people say looks are not everything, but dating someone that conventionally attractive when you are just a regular guy? It felt strange. At first, I was happy just dating her, but around the 6-month mark, she started hinting that she wanted to get married. By that time, I was completely infatuated. Whatever she wanted, I would have done for her. So, at 7 months in, I proposed. She said yes immediately, without hesitation. My friends and family thought it was fast, but as long as I was happy, they went along with it. Our relationship had its ups and downs, but I believed what we had was real. At least, I thought it was real for me, maybe not for her. Then, about 3 months ago, everything changed. She invited her friends over to help with wedding planning. I was not feeling great that day, so I was resting in the bedroom. After a while, I got up to grab some food, but as I walked past the kitchen, I heard them talking about me in the living room. I stopped just outside their view. They did not know I was there, so they kept talking, laughing at me, making jokes about my looks, tearing apart my insecurities. And then Bella, the woman I was supposed to marry, joined in. She laughed and bragged about how she had snagged a sugar daddy with no looks and was basically living her dream life. The room erupted in laughter. I turned around and walked straight back to my bedroom. My face was burning, and my stomach was in knots. I had heard enough. I wanted to walk out right then and there, to end things immediately. But I stopped myself. Instead of breaking up with her, I decided to play the long game. She had been using me, so I was going to use her right back. I work as a web developer, and I make decent money. Because Bella could not afford to support herself, I had been paying for everything: rent, bills, food, her clothes, her makeup, her Uber rides to auditions. She barely made any money from modeling, and her parents were not well off enough to support her lifestyle. She had moved in with me just 2 months into the relationship, saying she was struggling with rent. I told her she could stay for a while. She never left. From that moment on, I was paying for everything. I started thinking about how I could turn this around. That is when I remembered my cousin, Irene. She was 23, also trying to become a model, and unlike Bella, she had real money behind her. Her father was a wealthy businessman, but he refused to support her career because he thought it was too risky. She had the money, but she had no industry connections. Bella had always discouraged me from helping Irene, saying the modeling industry was too competitive and that Irene could become a threat to her. So I had stayed out of it. But after hearing Bella mock me behind my back, I made up my mind. I was going to help Irene, and in return, she would send me half of whatever she made from the jobs I got her. From that day on, I started tracking every audition Bella went to, every industry contact she made. I collected every piece of information I could and sent it all to Irene. Sometimes she landed the gig, sometimes she did not, but every time she got work through me, she sent me $1,500. Her father had cut her off, and she was eager to prove she could make it on her own, so she had no problem paying me. At first, I felt a little guilty, but that quickly disappeared as I watched the money roll in. I was getting richer every month. Of course, I had to be careful. Bella would have noticed if I suddenly started paying attention to her career, so I kept my act up. I played the doting fiancé, pretended I was excited about the wedding, and let her keep thinking she had me wrapped around her finger. But deep down, I felt nothing for her anymore. I even told my parents the wedding was never going to happen. I did not tell them the full story, just that I had changed my mind. They did not press for details, and I let Bella keep planning like nothing was wrong. She told me to book the venue and hire vendors. I said I would. I never did. Then, everything fell apart. This week, the invitations were supposed to go out. Bella asked me if I had sent them yet. That was the moment I decided I was done pretending. I told her straight up I had not booked a venue, I had not made any plans, and there was not going to be a wedding. She just stared at me, completely shocked. "You are joking, right?" she said. I looked her in the eyes and told her the truth. I had heard everything she said about me that day, and I had never forgiven her for it. When she asked why I had stayed for so long, I told her everything. I told her how I had used her to help Irene's career, how I had made thousands off her industry connections, and how I had never planned on marrying her. The look on her face was priceless. She lost it. Screaming, crying, saying I had betrayed her. I told her this was all happening because of what she had done. She had called me her sugar daddy and laughed at me with her friends. She tried to brush it off, saying it was just a joke. I told her that jokes are supposed to be funny, not cruel. That was what hurt the most. Not just that she said it, but that she sat there with her friends and laughed at me like I was nothing. I had paid for everything, made sure she had a comfortable life, and in return, she mocked me. She packed her things that night and left within an hour. I did not stop her. I did not want to. I looked her dead in the eyes and told her I had heard every word of her little joke the other day. I let her know, plain and simple, that I had not forgiven her for it. She sat there, blinking in disbelief, and finally asked me why I had stayed with her for so long if I felt that way. That was when I dropped the truth. I told her how I had used her to help push Irene's career forward, how I had made money off of her contacts, and how I had been playing her just like she had played me. For the first time since I had known Bella, she was speechless. Her mouth hung open, her eyes darting around like she was trying to process what I had just said. Then, as expected, she exploded. Tears, screaming, hands waving around, she went full meltdown mode. She kept saying how I had betrayed her, how she had trusted me, how she could not believe I had done this to her. I let her get it all out before I calmly told her, "This is all happening because of what you said about me behind my back." She wiped at her eyes and fired back, "It was just a joke." I shook my head. "Yeah? It was not a very funny one." I watched her struggle to come up with some kind of excuse, something that would make what she had said sound less awful. But there was nothing. She tried to argue with me, telling me I had ruined our relationship over something so small, over one little joke, over something she had not even meant. She went on and on about how she had actually loved me, and how I had not even given her the courtesy of a conversation before deciding to destroy what we had. I let her talk. Then, when she was done, I told her the truth. This was not just a joke. Jokes are meant to be funny, not cruel. What she said had cut deep, not just because of the words, but because of the way she had said them. She had been sitting there with her so-called friends, tearing me apart, laughing about how she had me wrapped around her finger. And she had not even hesitated. She had joined in, enjoyed the moment, like my feelings did not matter. That was what hurt the most. I had paid for everything. I had worked my ass off to make sure she had what she wanted, and what did I get in return? A fiancé who laughed at me behind my back. She stormed off, throwing things into a suitcase, and within an hour, she was gone. I did not stop her. I did not even try. For the next 2 days, I drowned myself in work. Anything to keep my mind off of her, off of what had happened. It was weird coming home to an empty house. I was not sad, but I was off. I had been used to having her around. Part of me thought maybe I could have fallen back in love with her if things had been different. But they weren't. Then, this morning, she texted me. She told me she still loved me. That she missed me. That she wanted to work things out if I was willing to. I stared at that message for a long time. I did not reply. Because honestly, I did not know what to say. Did I miss her? Did I still love her? Did I even want to get back together? I had no answers. My emotions were a mess, and for the first time, I started to wonder if maybe I had taken things too far. Maybe I had overreacted. I started reading through the messages and comments people had left on my post, and I realized something. I might have been in the wrong. Maybe I should have handled things differently. Maybe, instead of playing this long con, I should have just ended things the second I found out what she had said. I even thought about reaching out to her, maybe apologizing for how things went down. Then, I got a message from one of her friends. She sent me a screenshot. It was a message from Bella, telling her that she needed a place to stay for a while until her loser boyfriend took her back or until she found someone new. I sat back in my chair, staring at the screen. She had sent that message to her entire friend group. She was telling them she had left after some huge fight, but she had not told them what the fight was actually about. Her friend told me she had been feeling guilty, that she did not like how Bella was still trashing me even after everything. She thought I should know. She did not realize I already knew exactly who Bella was. I was grateful, though. That message had stopped me from making a huge mistake. If I had apologized to Bella, if I had taken her back, I would have been walking straight into another one of her games. I dodged a bullet. And all that criticism people had been throwing at me? It was fair. I had taken revenge, and maybe I had gone overboard. But looking at that screenshot, seeing Bella's real intentions laid out so clearly, I had no regrets. She had deserved every bit of it. If she had been a different person, maybe I would have admitted I was wrong. But Bella? Bella was selfish to the core. She had not wanted to get back with me because she loved me. She wanted to come back because she needed a free place to live. And that was pathetic. Over the past few months, she had gotten lazy. She barely did anything besides going to auditions. I had been fine taking care of things because, at the end of the day, her career had been making me money. But now that I had that screenshot, I knew I was done. I blocked her on everything. I even started looking for a new apartment, somewhere bigger, somewhere that did not remind me of her. I had made a lot of money off of Irene's success, and I had a raise coming up at work. There was no reason to stay in the same space Bella had lived in. My friends were shocked when I told them the wedding was off. They had no idea. When I explained everything, some of them thought she had deserved what I did. Others thought I had taken it too far. But I knew one thing: when they found out she had been lying about her reasons for wanting to come back, they would all agree. Bella never really cared about me. She just cared about what I could give her. And if she finds some other guy dumb enough to let her move in and pay for her lifestyle, then good for her. But it is not going to be me. Maybe she will. Maybe she will find some other guy dumb enough to take care of her. But it does not matter to me anymore. All I know is that I am relieved she is gone. No more fake affection, no more using me, no more playing me for a fool while laughing behind my back. I will not have to deal with her again, at least not anytime soon. At first, I thought I had kicked her out too soon, but looking at it now, I should have done it earlier. She must have finally realized that not every guy will be okay with funding her lifestyle. Not every man is going to let her move in, take over his life, and drain his bank account while giving nothing in return. Unless, of course, she actually goes out and finds herself a real sugar daddy. But that is not my problem. She found a way to reach me again, different number, same attitude. This time, she did not beg. No, she tried to blackmail me. She said that if I did not let her move back in until she found another guy, she would tell everyone that I had used her for her contacts to boost my rich cousin's career. I could not help but laugh. Does she not realize that unless she gives people the full story, I am just going to look like a supportive relative? Who is going to be mad at a guy for helping out his cousin? And does she honestly think I am just going to sit back and let her spread lies about me? I told her straight up, if she wants to run her mouth about me, then I will make sure everyone knows exactly what she did to me. I will not hold back. I will lay it all out, every little detail. And unlike her, I do not have a big Instagram following that could be damaged by a scandal. She does. She has not responded yet. I hope she does not. Because I am getting real tired of her nonsense. And just when I thought she could not sink any lower, she showed up at my workplace. The receptionist called me down, saying she refused to leave unless she saw me. I knew she was about to cause a scene, so I took her to a cafe nearby. The last thing I needed was my coworkers seeing my ex-fiancée lose her mind in the middle of the office. And, of course, that is exactly what happened. The moment we sat down, she started in on me, whining about how unfair I had been, how I owed her another chance, how I should let her prove she could be a good girlfriend. That caught me off guard. I asked her what she meant by that. As far as I could tell, she had had it pretty damn easy. She had lived a stress-free life. She paid for nothing. She got everything handed to her. And that, apparently, was the problem. She told me I had spoiled her too much. That I had let her walk all over me, and if I had stood up to her more, she might have respected me. She said I was weak-willed, average-looking, and had zero self-confidence. And that was why she had been able to treat me like she did. But now, knowing that I had been secretly playing her all along? Now, she was attracted to me. Now, she could actually see me as a man worth dating. I stared at her, trying to process what the hell she was saying. I had to bite my cheek to keep from laughing. Was this real? Did she actually believe that after everything, I would take her back just because she had suddenly decided I was strong enough to date? Was this her last desperate attempt at getting me to let her move back in? Or was she genuinely that delusional? Either way, it was the funniest thing I had ever heard. I kept a straight face and told her I would think about it. I just needed to get out of there before I actually burst out laughing. She made me promise to call her later. That was another thing I had hated about our relationship, the baby talk. Every time she did something wrong, every time I got upset, she would talk to me like a toddler, like she thought it was cute or something. I never said anything. I was too nice. But man, it was disgusting. I got home half an hour ago, and I still cannot believe she actually tried to pull that. After all of this, she still wants to get back with me. Not because she loves me. Not because she regrets what she did. But because she needs a place to stay. That is just sad. She has no pride, no shame, no sense of dignity. She is so dependent on a man taking care of her that she cannot even bring herself to admit defeat and move on. I will not be reaching out to her. I will not be calling her back. The next time she tries to contact me, I will make sure she understands, once and for all, that she is no longer welcome in my life. And just when I thought this whole thing was over, she called again. This time, from a friend's number. I picked up, only because I wanted to end this nonsense once and for all. She asked if I had thought about what she said. I told her, point blank, I had not. And even if someone put a gun to my head and forced me to choose between her and being single forever, I would still pick being single. I did not hold back. I told her exactly what I thought about her pathetic, lazy, selfish attitude, and how I was done wasting my time on someone like her. She tried to fight back, saying the only reason I had money now was because I had used her and her contacts to get in good with my rich cousin. That I was no better than her. That set off a full-blown shouting match. At some point, I just stopped arguing. What was the point? She was not going to admit she was wrong. She was not going to change. I do not even know how I fell for her in the first place. But I guess when someone is pretty enough, they can fool you into thinking they are a good person. I ended it. Told her I was not dealing with her *T anymore. Told her that if she tried to contact me again, I would post everything she had done on Instagram. And that would be the end of whatever little reputation she had left. She must have realized she had lost, because she hung up after calling me a few choice words. But I do not even care anymore. It is a small price to pay to finally be rid of her. I am done dating for a while. And I am going to therapy. Because, honestly, I need to figure out why the hell I ever put up with this in the first place.